here is the hidden cost. The more a person performs an identity, the further they drift from themselves. That is why so many people feel disconnected even while appearing successful, externally admired, internally exhausted, because the soul becomes tired when it constantly performs. Now here is something even stranger. Most people are not consciously choosing their emotional reactions either. They are repeating learned patterns. Someone criticizes them. They instantly become defensive. Someone succeeds. They instantly compare. Someone disagrees. They instantly feel threatened. And because these reactions happen automatically, people assume they are natural. But automatic does not mean natural. Automatic often means conditioned. The matrix survives through unconscious emotional loops. And once you see this, human behavior starts making far more sense. You realize people are not simply reacting to life. They are reacting to programming. That is why two people can experience the same event and interpret it completely differently. One sees opportunity. Another sees danger. One sees growth. Another sees embarrassment. One acts. Another hesitates. The event is not the difference. The conditioning is. Conditioning repeated becomes identity. Now think about procrastination. Most people believe procrastination is laziness. But what if that is not true? What if procrastination is actually emotional avoidance? A person wants to begin something meaningful. But the moment they start, uncertainty appears. And uncertainty threatens the identity the brain already knows. So the mind delays. Not because the person lacks intelligence. Not because they lack potential. But because the nervous system prefers familiar discomfort over unfamiliar expansion. This is why people doom scroll instead of reflecting. Why they distract themselves instead of confronting uncertainty. Why they consume endlessly instead of creating intentionally. Distraction becomes emotional anesthesia, and the modern world rewards it. People are constantly stimulated but rarely conscious. Constant noise, constant information, constant comparison, very little awareness. Pause for a moment and think about your own life. How often do you sit alone in silence without reaching for distraction? How often do you observe your own thoughts instead of escaping them? How often are you truly present? Because when a person cannot sit with themselves, conditioning remains unchallenged. And this is where the matrix becomes self-sustaining. People become so overstimulated that they never pause long enough to question the systems controlling them. But awareness changes everything. The moment you observe a pattern, you interrupt the pattern. The moment you notice emotional automation, you create separation from it. This is why conscious observation is powerful. Not because it instantly changes your life, but because it weakens unconscious control. And once unconscious control weakens, choice becomes possible again. Now here comes one of the biggest psychological misunderstandings in human behavior. People believe comfort zones are about comfort. They are not. Comfort zones are about familiarity. That changes everything. Because many people are miserable inside their comfort zones. They feel exhausted, unfulfilled, disconnected, uninspired. Yet they stay there. Why? Because the brain values predictability more than possibility. A familiar struggle feels safer than an unfamiliar opportunity. Read that again internally. A familiar struggle feels safer than an unfamiliar opportunity.